Hello, good afternoon. Hello, everybody. I hope you can hear me. I'm Zenios, and I welcome you to this fourth live webinar of Hotelier Academy's international part of this action we're doing in June. We're very happy to see you here. I hope you cannot hear me. If you don't mind, you can send us a message here saying where you're watching us from and how you're doing and how is everything at your hotel, at your country, at your city, and so on. As I told you, I'm Zenios. You're used to seeing Nikos Morandis, my business partner, welcoming these webinars. However, this time Nikos is not available because he's away on a business trip, so I'm filling in for him. So today we're going to talk about upselling methods. We're just waiting for Loïc Gabriël from Oaky company to join the meeting. I hope you have been watching our webinars and that you're happy with what you're learning or getting from us as information. And we'll be happy to, as always, to hear your questions, receive your comments, and so on. We see that we already have some messages from Greece, we have from Thessaloniki, we have from Rhodes, we also have from Spain messages. Hello to everyone. And we're just waiting once again for Loïc. I will greet Loïc when he joins the webinar, and of course later on we will make the connection with the Facebook page of Hotelier Academy, where you can also watch the webinar if you're not able to join the Zoom platform. We have a few more webinars coming up next week on Monday and Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll be also very happy to see you there as well. We are waiting for Loïc. Maybe he's having some trouble. Just going through the settings here. But I think we will be able to welcome him anytime soon. Now, I will excuse me for a second because I think Loïc is calling me. Yourself. Okay, hello again, everyone. We're sorry for this small interruption. Loïc as well in the line. Hello.
Yes, hi everyone.
Some small technical difficulties, but the important thing is that we are now connected and live. Welcome to the webinar. We're very happy to have you here. I already did an introduction to the audience here in Zoom. I will let you now say your hellos and introduce yourself to the audience here at Zoom while I do the connection with the Facebook Live, so that we're also live in our platforms there. And once we're live there, I will make another greeting to you, to the broader audience that we have from Facebook. So take it from here and we will speak in a few minutes.
Yes, perfect.
So, Loïc, you are from Oaky company.
Yes.
You're based in which country?
In Amsterdam, the Netherlands.
You're the Netherlands. Okay. How is the situation there in the Netherlands? Are the hotels open?
Yeah, so we did an intelligent lockdown here in the Netherlands, and since last week, the hotels and restaurants and bars, etc., are reopening again, but with limited capacity. But for the looks of the situation, it's looking good, and looking at the market, we see that that the recovery has started. So that's a really good sign. So we're really happy about that.
Okay, so that's very good news about the Netherlands as well. We all hope that the situation will become even better in the next weeks, months,
yeah.
And so that we can all return to our normal, lives and business as always.
Yeah.
So I'm just now setting up the live video, and yes, now we are live on Facebook as well. Let us once again welcome the audience to this fourth live webinar of Hotelier Academy International webinars. We are doing this in June. My name is Enyos. I am Hotelier Academy's co-founder, and I'm very happy to welcome, of course, the audience, and also Loïc Gabriël from the company Oaky, which is a very smart company focusing on upselling techniques about hotel. And upselling is one of the fields that I'm also involved in. And actually, I have met Oaky in international fairs. I think the last time I met someone from Oaky was in World Travel Market last November in London. I'm very excited to hear what Loïc has to tell us today about the upselling techniques, which are very, very important. So, Loïc, welcome once again. I will now give you the speech so you can make your presentation. The audience, of course, already sends us messages. They can be in touch with you and, of course, send you questions and all that. And we'll be happy, as always, to have a very constructive chat and dialogue with our attendees. So I will be here, of course, but I will mute my microphone. I will shut down my camera so that all the focus is on you and what you're going to present to us.
Perfect. I'm going to close the door. That's a little bit mirroring here.
Okay.
Then it's nicer. Thank you for the introduction, Zenios. I will start sharing my screen. Let's see where it is. This one, yep.
Okay, great.
Perfect. So if it's good.
Yes, now we can see your presentation as well.
Well, first of all, thanks all everyone for attending today. Today I'm going to tell you something about some best practices and the importance of upselling. My name is Loïc Gabriël. I'm a sales manager for Oaky, based here in Amsterdam, the Netherlands. And our company Oaky is passionate about upselling, and our company goal is to make all of our customers rock stars in upselling. And also in the current situation that we are in worldwide, the importance of upselling is very big, also to be strong in the coming recovery phase when travel picks up again. A little short introduction about Oaky. We are an automated upselling platform which enhances the guest experience and delivers a high ROI. Company-wide, we see an ROI of 13.8. So that means with every euro invested in Oaky, almost get 14 euros back. To start with all the basics, let's go back on what upselling really is. Upselling is persuading the customer to buy something additional or something more expensive. And why would you start upselling? Because why is it so important? Well, once the customer is in, normally most companies stop investing in them. but they're only focusing on getting new bookings or new guests in. But attracting new customers is extremely expensive because of commissions. You have to do marketing, etc. And studies show that it's 5 to 25 times more expensive to attract new guests than retain or upsell to current customers. So when is a good time to start your upselling to your guests? Well, there are 6 steps in the guest journey, from the dream phase that we're all thinking now, oh, I want to go on holiday, to the day that you return at the airport or at your home. And you can upsell at every stage within this guest journey. In the dream phase, of course, you can do your meta searches, online advertisements to really target your guests with personalized content about your property. During booking, we see that it's super important to keep a really lean and mean booking machine, where there are only a few clicks needed to book their stay. There's no distraction, only objective is to book the stays as fast as possible. And we also see that adding upselling to your booking engine distracts the guest, and you see a huge drop in conversion if there are many options and many clicks until you can make the reservation. Then the pre-stay, so before arrival, we see that the most frequent inbound guest messages are related to restaurants, check-in times, if there's breakfast, parking facilities, all questions about the property. And the funny thing is, 19 out of these 20 subjects can be developed into an upsell opportunity. Also, pre-stay guests contact the hotel to ask about all these things. And you see that the highest traffic for these questions is between 12 and 8. And that's exactly the time that your front office staff is busy checking in your new guest. So communicating pre-stay with your guests and informing them about all the amazing things you have in your hotel can be done digitally, so your front office staff is relieved and can really focus on the guest. And the best time when your guests contact you is the best time to contact them. So with Oaky, we have a pre-stay upselling solution where we communicate with the guests before arrival and showcase all the amazing opportunities in the hotel, room upgrades and services, and sell them to them pre-stay. On average, we see a deal conversion of 10.8%, which means that out of 100 guests, 10 guests will do an extra purchase pre-arrival. The guest arrives at the property, already selected everything they need for their stay, but also gives you an insight about why is this guest staying at your property. Is it a romantic getaway? Is it a business travel? Is it a family reunion? All this information can be transformed in a really personalized check-in, which creates a unique experience for the guest. During their stay, the guest walks by your spa facility and sees how amazing and how nice and tranquil it is. And in-stay also gives you an opportunity to upsell again. Restaurant reservations, inform them about happy hours in the property. And of course, when they go out the last night of their stay, a late checkout is always nice, or when you have a late flight. Being in touch with the guest every step of the customer journey gives you the opportunity to learn more about the guest and to maximize your ancillary revenues. Then you might ask yourself, well, how much can you upsell? I mean, isn't it annoying that the guest gets so many messages and so many offers? Well, it doesn't really matter how much you upsell, but it matters if the offers are personalized or not. As long as the things that you offer your guests are relevant and personalized, it's not considered as annoying, but as showing your interest and you are valuing your guest. So the choice paradox is something that we are looking at a lot, because we want to see, all right, how many offers can we offer the guest to generate the best conversion rate? And it is more or less the same when you enter your car, with your car, drive into a parking garage, and the parking garage is completely empty. There are everywhere are available spots. Then the first thing you do is just drive a little round to see, okay, where's the nearest exit? Where can I park my car? But at the other hand, if you drive into the garage and there are only 10 spots, then you probably will park at the third or the fourth or the fifth one. And that's why we looked at in our data as well. How can we predict to offer an X amount of deals or X amount of upgrades to the guest to generate the highest conversion and the best results? Here we saw that between 11 and 20 offers based on services that you offer in the property are generating the best conversion. For room upgrades, the best conversion lies at 5 room times upwards. And this doesn't even have to be a standard to a deluxe, to a superior, to a suite, but it also can be rooms that have specific features as seaside or garden side. But there are many things that we can learn from other industries as well. And the airline industry is, of course, best at knowing their guests and upselling. KLM, the Dutch airline, is really good at it. And there are some things that we can learn from them. First thing, EasyJet is the king of upselling, because they unbundled everything besides the fare, and every extra item is an upsell item. And in 2019, 21% of their total revenue was generated from upselling, which is a huge, huge part of their revenue. So they unbundle all the things aside from the effective product, which is flying from A to B. And every extra, the newspaper, the drinks, the food, even luggage now, is an extra. Which means is with unbundling, you can create a really competitive price. And also, when the guest is in, you can start upselling. And throughout the years, the upselling revenue of airlines is only growing and growing and growing. But there are also really tech-savvy hospitality companies who do this. And one example is Sonder, which is an American Airbnb-style accommodation provider, who took all the extras from a normal overnight stay away, entered the market with a really competitive price. As you can see, $111 for a really nice loft apartment in San Diego. And all the extras are extra. So do you want to have daily cleaning? Then it's an extra fee. Do you want to have fresh towels? It's an extra fee. Do you want to have a personalized check-in with someone coming? It's an extra fee. And with all those things that you can offer, they get a better understanding what their guest wants. And the same is done in the airline industry, where by unbundling, you can move to rebundling. So there are different types of guests in your property who are staying there with a different budget, with different wishes and different needs. If you really understand your guests, you can put them in a specific segment and offer them tailor-made services that are relevant for them. Same as they do in the airline industry, and where they even create more segments within the same plane, and even the apartments in the Emirates airplanes, which are for the super 1% of this world. Self-service, of course, is a no-brainer for the airline industry. You can check in your own bags. You can do your online check-in. You can order your meals up front. You can buy an upgrade up front, or do even a bid on an upgrade. And in this time with Corona and also post-Corona, the self-service part will be of huge importance, where we in the hospitality industry will have to move from physical touch points to digital touch points, as online check-in, as opening the door with your phone, and ordering things online or via digital channels. And loyalty, of course, is the airline industry really well. They do it really well, because if you stay with one airline, you will fly the rest of your life with them, because you get points in return where you can do fun things with. You can get free upgrades. So it makes sense to stay with one airline for the rest of your life. Last thing, dynamic pricing. And I think everyone have looked for a flight yesterday, and then they look it up again today. And what do you see? A higher price, or maybe a lower price if you're lucky. And dynamic pricing is a huge revenue channel if done right. And there are many good tech solutions for that as well. The last thing is disintermediation. So airlines pay less commission than hotels. Why? Because there are more third parties involved in the hotel industry than in the airline industry. Airlines have a really, really strong direct channel, and that's why hotels are continuously focusing on retaining and converting their OTA guests to direct guests in the future, to be less dependent on the hefty commissions that they charge. So by knowing your guests and going the extra mile, you can create unique experiences. They tell their friends, they put it online, they put it on Instagram, and they will come back, or their friends will come back. Because every guest is different. Every guest has specific needs and wishes. Some results in revenue upselling wise, and every guest of course is different and also has a different budget and stays at a different segment. So you can see that the revenues coming from a luxury segment is way higher than for a mainstream or a budget accommodation. But still you see that the average spend through our platform lies between the 40 and the 100 plus euros. So to put it in practice, we see that on average we can generate an uplift of 10 to 100 euros per room per month of ancillary revenues. So how would it look for a hotel where you have 1,000 guests coming in per month, 10.8 conversion, so 108 guests make an additional purchase, times the average spend for that specific segment, generates more than 10,000 euros ancillary revenue per month, which is a huge revenue potential for hotels who didn't start upselling yet. But you can also turn free items into direct revenue. And a really cool example is a hotel here in Amsterdam who offered free bitterballs to their guests prior to their arrival. And everyone who's been in Amsterdam knows probably the bitterballs, which is a really Dutch snack. And everyone is curious about them who doesn't know that. So the guest arrives at the hotel, goes to the bar, gives the voucher for their bitterballen, and sits at the bar. But what everyone does with a bitterball belongs beer. So with offering something free, you can steer traffic into your F&B outlet and then create direct revenue in that outlet. I want to shake things up a little bit with a small story. So this is my mom, and when I was younger, I had my driver's license, but I couldn't afford a car. And my mom had a really nice car, and I always wanted to borrow it. So when I asked my mom, can I borrow your car? She says no. And I was like, okay, how do I get her to borrow me the car. So I was thinking of how can I influence my mom to lend me her car and also give her a good feeling about it. So I started to do some tests, ask it in the morning, ask it in midday, ask it just before dinner, after dinner. And then I saw a pattern where I had the best success rate. I figured out that when my mom came back after her finished spinning class, she's always really relaxed, and everyone who works out, they are really high on life. So then I thought this is the best moment to ask her if I can borrow the car. So I asked her, can I borrow the car and be home by 10, or I have to walk back and it's going to be way later and it's also not so safe. And then she said, of course, take the car. And I was like, yes, this is asking the right question at the right time. So we did this for our guests as well, for our customers, to figure out what is the best time to start upselling to your guests. And from the overall data, we saw that from all guests, the best time to start upselling is 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We dug a little bit deeper into the data and then divided the leisure guest from the business guest. And there we saw that 1 o'clock was still the best time for the leisure guest. Looking at the business guest, we saw that 1 o'clock was the worst time to start upselling to the business guest. But 10 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon were better alternatives. Putting them side by side, it's of huge importance to analyze the data and see which segment should we target at what specific time in the day to drive the highest conversion and the highest results for our guests. And with all that big data we have from our 1,600 hotels, we can start doing predictive upselling. So we know when to send what to the right guest. The hotel knows the guest by segmenting them into specific segments. And with that knowledge combined, you can create a new revenue dimension. Where in the old days, normally the cost structure of your channel is the ADR that you sold the room for, minus the distribution cost, commissions, fees to the travel agent, which is your revenues. But adding a software solution for upselling, you create a new revenue stream where you can maximize your revenues and even generate more revenue. So if we look at what hotels upsell the most, you can see in this chart that around 2/3 of the things that is requested by the guest is service oriented. 1/3 of it is room upgrades oriented. And service-wise, this can be everything the hotel has to offer, from transportation to activities, fixed menus, breakfast, lunch, spa treatments. If you can offer it, you can sell it. There's even one hotel in Amsterdam who sells a helicopter flight above Amsterdam. So really the sky is the limit. So 2/3 is services, 1/3 is room upgrades. But if we're gonna look to the revenue that these requests generate, we see that more than half of the revenue is coming from room upgrades. So for your bottom line revenue, selling room upgrades is super interesting, because the additional cost for a room upgrade is not significantly high compared to the services that you sell. When you start upselling, you also can see what your most valuable guests are, or what is your best channel to sell from. So you can see, all right, my booking.com guests are maybe really expensive in the acquisition part, but we see that they have a higher additional spend than our Expedia guests. Or I see that our business guests spend more money than our leisure guests, or vice versa. So with that information, you can also shift your scope on the type of guest or the nationality that you are attracting. And the even nicest thing is that Oaky, as an upselling solution, can upsell commission-free to your OTA guests. So going back to the cost structure of your channel, it completely changes the cost structure of your OTA channel, where you maybe pay 20 euros commission for the initial booking, but then start upselling 90 euros to that specific guest. And of course, what we spoke about before is converting those OTA bookers to direct guests in the future is of course the ultimate goal for all hoteliers. So knowing your guests, telling them a story is of huge importance. And there is a famous Dutch writer, Bart Meij, who did a research on what storytelling adds to the value of an item. So he bought 100 items and wrote 100 stories for those items. And what he saw is that he could sell that same item for 63 times the price when there's a nice story attached to it. So the importance of storytelling to your guest is generating you more revenue and more sales. So it's of huge importance to give your guests a story to tell, and when you tell a story to your guests, they will tell it to their friends. So an example is one hotel, which is a hotel in Brussels, who offered Fons the goldfish to lonely business travelers. And the money they get for it was going to Kids' Rights, a charity. Doesn't really add to the bottom line revenue, but tells a nice story about the hotel and what they find important. And guess what? The next day, it was in the Mirror with a big article about the hotel that sells Fons to their guests. You can also reward your guests for turning down housekeeping, for example. One hotel here in Amsterdam offered their guests a free pizza or a beer. I see here a Corona beer, so maybe don't do the Corona beer. But to turn down the housekeeping, to reduce cost on that side, and at the other hand, drive traffic to their F&B outlets. Very creative offer. And of course, when you tell a story to their guests, they tell it to their friends. So it's also coming back on TripAdvisor and the other review sites. So when you know your guests, you can personalize their check-in and their complete stay and create a unique experience for them to come back. Another an example to really show who you are is the Pulitzer Hotel in Amsterdam, which is a really high-end hotel where Caroline, the concierge, goes on a run every Thursday with the guests through Amsterdam, which is completely empty in the early morning. Amazing experience for the guests and also for Caroline, because she's now doing this already for more than a year. So she's probably top fit now and can maybe do it even 2 times a week. And the last story to surprise someone else is the Hard Rock Hotel in the Maldives, who really know their guests. And they know that the people who are traveling to their hotel are lovebirds, and something is in the air, and they offer their guests pre-stay a proposal package, a complete top to bottom proposal package with the dinner, champagne, everything, the whole shebang. The funny story is that they put this offer live on a Wednesday at 12 o'clock, and Wednesday at 4 o'clock this offer was purchased by a guest arriving on Sunday. So knowing your guests, surprise your guest, and surprise someone else. Going into the new normal, so our current situation and also post-corona, there are a few things that are changing. We spoke already about going from physical touch points as check-in, as requesting items, going to a digital touch point. also to avoid unnecessary contact. In the introduction, Seniors already told you that hotels probably operate now with limited capacity due to the regulations in their country. So they have to do the same amount of revenue with less traffic, with less volume of reservations. But at the other hand, you also see that the guest wants to pay for premium services and safety. And what is really interesting is that throughout this crisis, the average spend of the guests through Oaky in this year is not really different from the average spend last year. And we even see that now within the recovery phase of some markets, that guests tend to spend even more because they're really happy to go on holiday now and they really want to spoil themselves. Also, the limitations give a huge opportunity again. So maybe it is the end of a breakfast buffet, but now you can offer different sizes of breakfast. You can start pricing your parking lot in a dynamic way, or your restaurant reservations. And you see that some hotels are saying, all right, if you want to come between 6 and 8, then you pay more than after 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock. Maximizing revenue is more important than ever before, especially as we now enter the recovery phase and high season at the same time. And this downtime that we have now within the industry is the opportunity to review your process and to see, all right, where can I improve and test new solutions to be better when travel picks up again. So to help the industry, we have a reopening offer from Oaky, which means that we give out free licenses for 3 months from the day that you go live with Oaky. And we help you to make the onboarding as easy as possible. And the contract is a fixed term, so there's no automatic extension. And then we're already through. Let me see if there are any questions. Where are we? Questions. Yes. Good afternoon from Greece. Thank you so much for this. I have 2 questions. First one, which are 2 to 3 cost efficiently and easy applied upselling techniques that you would propose to a hotelier following the COVID-19 era? That's a really good question. We have some inspirational deals on our website. I will directly get them to have some examples. Let me see where it is. So we came up with some deals for inspiration, and this one is for the IG chain, where the key thing is, especially for the recovery phase, is that guests are reassured that they are safe and well, and that the property takes the message. So offering cost-effective things can be really simple items as helping someone out with a donation to charity, for example, or just have a pickup breakfast instead of a buffet breakfast, for example. Secondly, are there some cost-efficient tools that you provide to hotels that can assist them to judge when they can proceed with upselling. Are there some cost-effective tools? And what do you exactly mean with tools? Are you still here, Damianos? What do you mean with tools? Software tools or? Right, software tools. Well, I think regarding tech solutions, to be cost effective, but also to generate new revenues or additional revenues, I think at this moment, there are many tech solutions out there who are offering their services for trial to test with properties. So I think this is also the opportunity for you as a hotelier to see what is out there, to trial with it, to see if it fits, and if it works out in a positive way for you. And then you can, without commitment, of course, test it and then evaluate if you want to proceed with it, yes or no. To see which companies are doing that, there's an article on our website with, I believe, 20 companies who are offering their services for pilots, or even for free. Oh, sorry, I see now software tools that you provide is Oaky. So within our platform and within our customer success team, my colleagues are continuously looking with the hotelier, all right, what do we need to offer to the guests at this moment? So now that can be really COVID oriented, of course, but also with really generic items as Mother's Day, Father's Day, Christmas, etc. So you can expect that our teams will help you increasing the performance of your Oaky, but also to inspire you to create unique deals as we went through in the presentation. Any other questions from the participants? Oh, I see a Q&A. All right. No more questions. If any questions come up after the webinar, please feel free to contact me via my email address, loic@oaky.com, which is at the end of the presentation. And please feel free to reach out for any questions or to have a chat about the exact situation in your market, and to brainstorm on what we can do to help you within the recovery phase. Well, thank you very much for attending. Zenios, I think you're there as well, still?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you very much for the presentation. It was very interesting and insightful. The audience will have the chance to see your presentation through our platform.
Perfect.
Next, if starting from tomorrow, if not, maybe from Monday.
Yep.
And they will be able to see your contact details and send you messages with questions and information about Oaky and your services. So thank you very much once again. Greetings from Greece, from Athens, and let's all hope that we'll be able to meet soon in person and exchange ideas and knowledge about the future.
Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity, Zenios, and really looking forward to the interaction with the participants and fingers crossed for a fast recovery and that we all can go on holiday soon. That would be really nice.
Exactly. We're looking forward to welcoming you in Greece again.
Yes.
So thank you very much, Loïc, and thank you very much to all of you who have attended this webinar. We'll see you again on Monday at the same time for the next webinar. Thank you very much and have a pleasant weekend.
Thank you. Thanks everyone, and have a wonderful weekend.
All right.